Welcome,
Oh,
welcome,
you got a new light?
welcome. No, I'm
Looks
good.
good.
I like it just like this. I don't need too much light. I don't want too much
Oh,
radiance.
you look good. You're looking professional.
It's right. And you don't need that much light. You know what I'm saying? I got some there, too shiny off my head. It works out just right. So, happy Veterans Day to all of the people that we look up to, we admire, we respect, including my good friend to my right here, Kevin Ducey. What's up, man?
How are you, buddy, man? Glad to be on the show. I don't know why it feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't. So I guess maybe just a week without Illinois football made it feel that way. But like I said, the bye week came maybe a week too late, but we still needed it. And time to regroup and get after Michigan State.
Yeah, 100%. So, not gonna. We talked about Minnesota, and I tweeted over the weekend. Minnesota got a little taste of theirs. Maybe they didn't really play better than Illinois or deserve it against Illinois. They got the win, and you know what? Maybe they deserved it against Rutgers, but they didn't get the win, and that's just how it works out sometimes. So Illinois is this week is heading to Champaign for Senior Day. Their final home game of the year. Obviously, a lot of key instrumental pieces throughout Brett Bielema's first 4 years will be possibly playing their final games. And I mean possible because Josh McCray can come back one more year. But will he? But we know Pat Bryant won't be because he's going to be getting picked in the NFL draft. And even if it may look like, oh well, he's going to be in the top 5 rounds. I'm pretty confident in that. I think he's showing out what he can
eligibility too, isn't he?
No, I don't think he has.
I'm pretty sure he's out of eligibility.
Yeah, so 21 was his freshman year, and that was the year after COVID, so they didn't let anybody play one more year.
Yeah, that's right. That's the COVID year. It would have to be your COVID year right now for you to get one more year. So
and Josh McCray redshirted one of his years because of injury.
He did, and got a medical.
Yep, so he'll be able to come back one more season if he wants. Obviously, other key players. We'll be seeing the final year home game of Seth Coleman, who's been around since Lovie Smith. So there's a lot of guys that will be saying goodbye to who've really helped turn the program around. Let's just keep it real.
Keep your eyes out for some. I remember last year Tip Ryman coming out for Senior Day seemed a little odd because he could have had one more year, and then obviously I don't think we knew that Tip Ryman was going to run a low 4.640 and get drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. So
true.
I think a guy that could fit those parameters of Gabe Yakis, I think is probably moving up some NFL radar. I think 6.5, 7 sacks, something like that this year. So and then you've got guys who have been contributors, like you said, like Seth Coleman, and then obviously Jake Davis and some others. Not Jake Davis, good Lord, J.C. Davis.
Yes,
Jake Chrysler possibly. Yeah. So
yeah. So Zy Chrysler. There's guys on the defensive side of the ball too. Other than that, in the secondary, I think who don't get to play a lot, but it's Senior Day, and there's a lot of. I'm really believing that there'll be 45,000, 50,000 people show up. I think one of the things, though, Kev, I've told you that bothers you a little, maybe more than me, but it still bothers me a little bit, is usually how that Senior Day crowd shows up. And it's really not like, if you think about it, you would think it'd be one of the more full, games of the year, right? To say goodbye to the people who've devoted their life and their blood, sweat, and tears for many, many years to say goodbye. And a lot of times it's kind of like, thanks. So I'm hoping that we have a nice crowd for this one. I think 50,000 is not too much to ask. I know people, it seems to be like coming off of big losses usually, or games where we thought we should have won, but we didn't. And then fans kind of are like, it's basketball season. There's a lot of things that play into Senior Day. It's not just, our fans don't care, but it's more like there's a lot going on. The basketball season is kicking in, and usually we've been coming off of bad losses. So there's a lot to it. But this year, there's still 9 wins on the table, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one is probably, if I ranked it of like if I 1, 2, and 3 of most gettable or toughest, it's fits right in the middle. I
Yeah.
think Western game is probably the easiest on the schedule. I think the Rutgers game is probably now the hardest, being at Rutgers. I also have questions about Aiden Child's health. Michigan State's not particularly good on the road, like 13th, 14th in scoring offense and 15th scoring defense. They're about the same. So it should be a game that Illinois should win, but this is still a pretty talented Michigan State team. It's not like when Michigan State's down, it's like all of a sudden they started recruiting at piddlywinks. It's been a good program for a long time for a reason. So,
and I'm not sure if the students will be gone for Thanksgiving break or not. It's the 16th.
No. Because Thanksgiving's not till the 28th, so we're still got 2 weeks.
Okay, good. So the students should still be there for
They
at
might
least
be gone from Rutgers. They might be gone from Piscataway.
Yeah, which will be good. That'll be good for us. They barely had a crowd show up for Minnesota, so I'm not really worried about the crowd there at Rutgers. I'm really more worried about their defensive line pass rush. That was the problem that I watched in that Minnesota game. That to me that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how the hell did Rutgers get that much pressure on?
I kept thinking the same thing. It just was like,
because our pressure didn't. It seemed to be like Gabe Yakis once every maybe 6 to 7 plays he'd be there.
And Rutgers really held up at the line of scrimmage and stopped that run game, which was what we did, and then maybe it was.
And they won without Kyle Monungai too.
Yeah, they ran the ball more effectively than we did. There was a lot of things about that game that you walk away, you watch both games, you think Rutgers is a better team than Illinois.
They may have been without all their injuries and depleted, but also too, Ethan Kaliakmanis probably played the game of his life. So there was a lot into play there. So just if anybody watching here now, we're obviously going to preview Michigan State, but we're also going to delve into the first week of Illinois basketball, which has been, wow, man, I think everything we wanted to see or hoped for, Kevin, we got to see in the first week. I think we were really like, is Will Riley possibly this good for real? Can Drake Gibbs Lawhorn break his season total against Eastern again? And we were like, hey, is Tomislav Ivisic the guy we want him to be? Is Kasparis Jakutionis that guy? Is he him?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk Michigan State.
Yes. I'm just saying there's so many things to discuss. But, the fans who watch this are so pro basketball. Some of them don't even like to sit and listen or watch till we get to it. So just wanted you guys to know we're going to get to that, and we're going to do
got lazy Forrest Gump doing Purdue scouts for us already. So, yeah, we're definitely a basketball school. It's okay.
Yeah, Q&A. So let's get to previewing Michigan State. And if it doesn't matter to you, just pretend. Lazy Forrest Gump, we appreciate you. All right. So as you mentioned earlier, Kevin, I think the biggest thing heading into Saturday's game on FS1, it's at 1:30.
1:30. So be in the stands if you're going. Get in there by 1 o'clock. So.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little different. It's going to be dark though by the time the game's over.
Yes.
It's getting dark by 4:30. Close, but still darker than it's been. At the end of the 2:30 kicks. So Aiden Childs, Michigan State's quarterback, who is a roller coaster ride. Like, he can throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns, but also for 3 or 4 picks in the same game. And he's been very loose with the ball, very Altmaier-esque with the fumbles. But they've got a nice running attack. They've got some receivers, some good players, but they're just so enigmatic. I guess that's the best way. I heard their players after the Michigan game say they shoot themselves in the foot so many times. It's just like they beat themselves quite a bit more often than most teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So, and an example is Michigan State can go thump Iowa, and dominate them, just pounded the crap out of Iowa. And the game was in East Lansing. But if you can do that to an Iowa defense, just run it down their throat and nothing they can do about it, then that shows there's talent there. Iowa is obviously a staunch defense who pretty much prepared for that, assuming still couldn't do anything with it.
Well, they got them at home. They got them at night. Michigan State, like I said, is not proven themselves away from East Lansing. But if you look at some numbers, you look at some stats. I mean, they seem to like they. I mean, our stats aren't good either. So this is going to be one of the keys. The keys of the game here is they're one of the worst teams in the conference at getting to the quarterback. They've got 15 sacks on the year. It's tied for it's right. I mean, there's a couple teams with 14. They don't get to the quarterback. They do make some tackles for loss, which is pretty solid there. So the run game might be thwarted. I think, I listened to Jay Lehman talk about this today. Like Illinois should probably just come out and play loose and free and just let the passing game rip. And I would like to see that. I would like to see us get a little bit more vertical. I'd like to see us incorporate some of the other receivers a little bit more in the vertical game, because I don't think that many teams are expecting us there to get the ball downfield to the Colin Dixons and Malik Elzies and folks. So it's really going to come down to one of the things. They don't run the ball. They are not a very good running offense. They have a very, very electric quarterback in Aiden Childs, nicknamed Captain Chaos by the big guy, the Eyes on Big Ten podcast. Jeffrey the Greek does a great job there. Big fan of his. Used to have Big Kurt on that was an Illinois supporter, so that's how I got the Eyes on Big Ten podcast. They nicknamed him Captain Chaos, and he turns the ball over a lot, and they don't force many turnovers themselves. So this is going to be a game I think Illinois is going to have to kind of force Childs into some difficulties. Illinois does still get to the quarterback fairly well with 22 sacks on the season, 7 more than Michigan State. That's about 1 more a game than they get. If you can force him into doing some things and some disguising some coverages, I think that could be really critical. Obviously, going to be out without Rosiak, but one of the things that Aaron Henry said in his presser this week is they looked at their sub packages, and their sub packages are when they bring in some additional, rotational guys. That their sub packages have actually been more effective than the standard defense. And so I think that him acknowledging that, and also he said something like their first down defense looks too much like their third down defense. When you acknowledge things like that, it tells me that you use the bye week effectively to make some adjustments. I think Illinois makes some adjustments, forces Childs into some turnovers, plays inspired football on senior day, and plus after a week off, I think Illinois will be prepared to win this football game. Yep,
I'm in total agreement there. I think Illinois is the better team. The money can be 2.5, 3. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, they're the better team. They played better against better teams. And they've shown that they can do it. Michigan State, while beating Iowa at home, has shown you that they will make a mistake in key moments. That is one of their calling cards. And Childs is who knows how healthy he really is either. Kevin.
Right, he got banged up in their last game.
Yeah, so I'm talking about he couldn't even finish the game.
Right,
he missed the whole fourth quarter. He had his wrist wrapped and taped. And we already know how that goes. And yes, they had a bye week last week, but you saw Rourke and his game against Michigan State really didn't look the same for the first half. Right. He ended up playing better because Michigan State pretty much gave him the game with all the turnovers. But another thing, a key piece and thing that we need to think about, and for Illinois' sake, for one half, they're going to be without Miles Scott.
Yep.
Because of the targeting against Minnesota. So
will that be Reset? Yeah, will that be Resetich then, or who
yeah, it'll probably be Mac Resetich. Yeah.
There, so
there's been some guys there that you would thought like Demetrius Hill would have shown up somewhere, right?
Still on the roster.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, did he leave? It's like, where'd he go? He was a freshman All-American, and all of a sudden he's gone. But yeah, Mac Resetich has shown in games that he can make plays back there, but he'll probably be back there for the first 2 quarters, and then Miles Scott will be back, and it will not be his senior day. He's got 1 more year left. So anyway, I think this is about also Illinois rested up and got healthy again. Pat Bryant's been out there practicing. Xavier Scott was out there practicing. So I'm not necessarily sure everyone will be back, but I'm pretty sure Illinois is going to have majority of its best players available. So You
Yeah,
know,
one of the things to look for here is that Childs is an electric playmaker, right? In that he's very very elusive. He's very fast. He can run the ball. I think he might be their second leading rusher. Um, he has 8 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's their third leading rusher. Um, but their backup is Tommy Schuster, and Tommy Schuster is 38 years old. Uh, he's,
whoa, really?
I'm kidding, but he played 5 seasons at North Dakota and now a 6th at Michigan State. He is the 6th-year senior, and he played in parts of all 5 of those seasons. So he's that COVID guy plus a redshirt year in there somewhere. He has been pretty efficient in his career, about a 60-something% passer. Doesn't turn the ball over much. Not nearly going to be as elusive as Childs, so the game plan might adjust there accordingly. I think Childs is the more dynamic playmaker, but he's also can be a little bit looser with the ball. I hate to say this, I kind of would rather see a guy who's going to be a little bit loose with the ball than maybe a guy who can play game manager. K'Ron Lynch-Adams is Michigan State's leading rusher. He's a bigger back, not super explosive, averaging a little over 4 yards a carry. They don't run the ball very well at all. They're one of the worst rushing offenses in the Big Ten, but then again, so was Minnesota. Minnesota was pretty effective running the ball against us.
Well, basically, most of it was on one big play too, though.
No, I mean they had lots of little third down runs. And Michigan State's won one game away from home all year. That was the second game of the season against Maryland.
Yeah, and we've seen.
One of the guys you really got to watch out for is their freshman Nick Marsh, a big receiver, big play receiver. Likes to go up and get it, number 6, I believe. He's got 553 yards on the season, almost 17-yard receiving average. He was a really highly recruited guy, 6'3", number 6. So it's somebody we're going to have to keep an eye out for there. But I think that if Illinois can get off the field on third down on defense, shut down the run, get after the quarterback a little bit, they should come out with a win.
The biggest thing you just said, and I think we're just waiting for it, is third down defense has really been
really bad.
It's been bad.
Really bad.
Like, you can't be really good and set up and have 2 great first down, like first and second down. You're getting them to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, whatever. And then you just give up a wide open crossing pattern. It's just that drove me so insane.
Yeah.
Minnesota, just over and over. And here's the thing.
Or gap containment on a run, and Taylor just does this little shuffle down the line and then goes because we can't scrape or get off blocks.
Yeah, and here's something that bothered me. Okay, and I know easier said than done, but everybody knew, and everybody was talking in the pregame, and we knew. Guess what? Minnesota used their backs as part of their running game in the pass game.
Yep.
That is what they did better than any Big Ten team. How many times did you see a linebacker trying to cover Darius Taylor out in the flat and was behind him by 3 yards? Why is that happening? Like, right. You should have that covered already. You can't allow that. And
it's something I'd like to see us use more efficiently.
Yes, it's like they're doing it on purpose. They're making everybody else, if you're going to play man, they were making everybody else say, we're going to have to put a linebacker on him, or someone else needs to be out there. And if James Kreutz couldn't even stay in front of him, you knew Dylan Rosiak wasn't going to be able to. So
yeah, and hats off to Rosiak. I think the guy plays his tail off, leaves it all out there on the field.
He does.
He's done for the season with a broken leg. So
Kanina Odeluga, we like to see you a little more. Welcome back, Kanina Odeluga.
Brother, you're talking to like it's between me and his mama, the biggest fan club of that guy. I really like him. I'd like to see him. I think he's got a little bit. I think he's a little bit stockier. I think he's got some athleticism. You saw him get to the quarterback against Minnesota. Would like to see him some. I think you're going to see Malachi Hood some. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think that those guys are. I think Odeluga's bigger, and Hood's probably faster than Rosiak. So if I don't, it'll be interesting to see how Illinois utilizes that linebacker rotation.
And Daniel Brown will be back finally.
What?
It sounds like Daniel Brown might be able to play these final 3 games of the year plus the bowl game. And our guy, Gentle Hunt, who's been the scout team player of the year. He's been a high energetic motor D line guy that they are going to redshirt, and he's going to get a 6th year, but he'll get to play these final 3 games plus the bowl game. And he gets to keep his red shirt, you see. So these final games for guys that they maybe think can contribute, but they wanted to save a season, now they get to insert them in here.
Well, yeah, but Brown was banged up. Was Hunt banged up too early on?
No. I don't think they thought he was ready per se. He was banged up last week. He hurt his ankle right before Minnesota, and Bielema said, 2 weeks ago, Bielema said that they were going to play him against Minnesota, but he tweaked his ankle just a little bit.
Okay.
But he's going to be ready to play for Michigan State. So there's going to be a little more D-line help. He basically praised his motor and that he's just nonstop. He might be undersized, but like he's a dog,
Yeah, I mean he is a little bit of a fire plug. He's like 5'11", but 300 pounds. So I mean I think that will give some rotational help on the interior defensive line. That could definitely be a huge help. So
yep. So we'll knock out our predictions here real quick, and we'll do our champagne toast for the bye week. No, we should do some champagne toast for this. We'll do a champagne toast for this week's basketball. One player for each of us, by the way. So
yeah, Daniel Brown. For those who don't know, I mean, it's been a while since we've been talked about him. Was JUCO transfer from Hutchinson. And I think he was the number 1 outside linebacker ranked according to 247 and ESPN from a transfer. He had 18 sacks in 11 games last year. So that's a guy now granted it's a position that Illinois has done pretty decent at between Seth Coleman and Gabe Yakis, and Alec Bryant's actually performed well there. And we've seen JoJo Hayden, but if Daniel Brown can get out there and play 6'1", 250, can really set guys up and might be able to play in some kind of I'd love for Illinois to run some NASCAR packages out there on a 3rd and long and put him and Bryant and Coleman and Yakis and all those guys and just let those guys and Briggs and just let those guys turn loose and get after the quarterback. So,
all right, I'll give my prediction first. I think this is going to be a rejuvenated, motivated team that now can they don't need to worry about the possibility of the college football playoff maybe hanging on them, and maybe they played tight because of that against Minnesota. I don't know. I do think the Oregon thing apparently just was a little bit too much for their egos. I think it hurt more than, I guess, the average Bear,
Sure.
You would hope that you could just shake it off and just say, that's not who I am. But you know what? Easier said than done. And we're also not 2021 anymore. So, and we didn't live in a social media world either when we were that age. So it's even worse. Not just that you're on national television, you're all over the internet, which is even worse than the television. So,
right.
So anyway, this is a rejuvenated team, no monkey on their back anymore. They know they have got a sunny bowl game in Florida just sitting there for them. If they can take care of business and have the best season since 2007. It's there. You just got to take care of business in winnable games, and it starts against Michigan State on Senior Day. I think guys like Luke Altmaier want to redeem themselves. I think you're going to have a healthier team. I think Pat Bryant and Zachary Franklin can have some big weeks here. I think you're going to see Josh McCray getting the ball a little bit more this week. And Illinois is going to do what they need to do to turn over Aiden Childs. Michigan put 24 on Michigan State. He only gave up 17. I'm looking at this. I think Illinois can get 28 at least. I'm going to say Illinois 28, Michigan State 17.
That was really pretty close to mine. I got 31-17. I think Illinois gets a unique score in this game. Kick return, pick six, fumble recovery, touchdown, kind of breaks it open. And I think a lot of the stuff that you said is right. I love the fact that we're getting some of these guys back. You know, if Brown and Hunt can play, like Hunt had 11 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks last year as an interior defensive lineman in the SWAC. Now, before people want to like poo-poo the SWAC, that's where Melvin Priestley came from, and he's been probably our second best offensive lineman this year behind J.C. Davis.
And he also performed well against the Power 5 teams he played against too.
Same thing. So Hunt's number 92, 5'11", 305 pounds, and Daniel Brown's number 4. So if you see some new numbers out there this week, just a heads up of who those guys are. And maybe we do see Demetrius Hill number one. I think the bye week came at a good time for Illinois. I think we're ready. I think this team's prepared. I loved what I heard from both Lunny and Henry about how they reviewed the things that have been going on and how they're going to make some adjustments in this game. I think Illinois catches them good on senior day, 31-17 Illini.
And yes, if Illinois is able to make it to the Citrus Bowl, they're probably going to play Georgia or Alabama. So wouldn't that be fun? Who, by the way, they're going to sit their best players, just so everybody knows. Okay,
yep.
So they will. And does that mean it's going to matter? I don't know. But you know what? I guarantee you how fun would that be for Illinois' group?
I hope we still Luke Altmaier to keep him safe and healthy for next year.
Yeah. I'd be like, Pat Bryant, what could help your draft stock better than going up against Georgia's defensive backs or Alabama's defensive backs?
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. But you know what? We'll handle that.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We'll cross it when we get to it. But that'd be fun. I think Purdue just laid down for them last year and took a dive for LSU. What was it, like 49-0 or something?
Yeah, like Florida State did for Georgia.
Yeah. Anyway, something like that.
A little precursor of what was to come. So
yeah, true. Now, obviously, Illinois 2-0 took care of business against Eastern Illinois Monday, SIUE Friday. I will tell you this: they are looking like a well-oiled machine. So, and yes, let's look at the opponents. Let's look at, it's just Eastern. It's just SIUE. I think SIUE has a great chance to win the OVC this year, personally. I think they've got a really good team. I like they've got length. They've got size down low. They've got two really good shooters. They gave Indiana even more of a game than Eastern did because they were actually in single digits with, like 10 minutes left. Eastern Illinois was actually winning in Assembly Hall in Bloomington at halftime. Ended up obviously winning by 30-something. But Illinois, basically the game was over against Illinois with 15 minutes left, both games. Illinois had 20-plus digit leads, and then they just blew the roof off the Assembly Hall. Obviously, Will Riley, a 31-point freshman debut, which is a record, Kevin, looked like that scorer that everybody thought, like, hey, who's the leading scorer, on the Nike EYBL tour? Oh, he's just a bucket. It's Will Riley. He can get to his shot whenever he wants. And he's showing you a little bit more than just that. Like, he can shoot from long distance. Don't leave him open. He's going to create his own shot. And then we're getting to see Kasparis Jakutionis nearly get triple doubles. Yeah, he's just KJ. He's just in control, man. So impressive. We can keep going. We're going to do our champagne toast, but who impressed you this week?
Really, like, surprisingly, like Avicevic. Granted, we saw it in the Mississippi game that he's got that ability to be a highly effective player at this level. He was really impressive. He's averaging 10 boards a game. I think he's averaging like 16 points a game. So it's kind of interesting when you look at the statistics page for Illinois. The leading scorers, Will Riley at 22, and then you got Jakutionis is 10 assists a game, and you got Avicevic at 10 boards a game. It's pretty cool. And I think one of the things, like, from Illinois fans' perspectives is something to take note. We've shot 83s in the first two games. Shot 43s per game, right? I think 42 and 38. That's what it's going to be, because when you look at the roster, when you look, and it makes sense when you look at the Ty Rodgers no longer being on this team this season, and I'll clarify that, even though I think most of us believe he's likely to pull Sincere Harris and probably transfer. That's what this team is going to be. When you've got 8 of the 9 guys can all shoot threes, and 9 of your top 10 players who are going to play are all capable 3-point shooters. You're going to spread the floor, and it's going to open some stuff up. And for the offense to be this efficient early on, and you can still see there's some things that aren't coming together. Kylan Boswell hasn't played particularly well. Dre was really good in game 1, not so hot in game 2. there's going to come a time when this team really clicks, and I would not be surprised if this team hangs 120 on somebody at some point in time. But more so than that is, we watched the Ole Miss game, and you saw some things in practice, and you gave up 91 to Mississippi, and you worried this team couldn't guard. Well, I mean, they forced Eastern into a lot of tough twos, and Eastern made a lot of tough twos. I was not disappointed with the defensive effort in that game. I thought Eastern made tough shots, and that was that. But, Will Riley, one of the things that when you watched his highlight tapes is he consistently on the EYBL circuit made shots with hands in his face. He made tough shots. Well, the guy's got 3 4-point plays already this season. That's impressive. I mean, to have 3 4-point plays in a season would be impressive. He's got them in the first 2 games. So he is showing the ability to make the tough shots. He can get going. This team, what this team really needs to do, Kylan Boswell needs to step up and start playing a little bit more efficient. I'd like to see him shoot a little bit more. I'd like to see Accionis take some shots, but you know what? If we're winning, that's fine. But we'll know a lot more about this team a week from Wednesday when we go to Birmingham to play Alabama. Oakland this is not the best version of Oakland, so we should be sitting here next week with continuing winning games by about 30 points or so.
And we'll be ranked, I think, because you're seeing number 24 Rutgers struggle with 0-2 St. Peter's tonight. It's like, to me, it's just, here's the thing. I don't know how so many people got it so wrong about like how much talent is on Illinois, but yet everybody wants to all over Rutgers, because they got nothing. I was just sorry. I had like a little bit of a seizure because they had Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Oh, that means we're gonna just instantly be great. Oh, how's that gone so far? It's like they lost not just so many other, like the fact that they lost their big man. You can't discount that.
Yeah, they don't have a big. I mean, their big is probably the kid from Normal.
Yeah, they've got no Cliff Omoruyi. They have no inside presence at all. And, there's no Paul McCahey. There's no – what's the best way to say this? Yes, they've got Bailey and Harper. Great. 2 really young players. They're great. But there is no, veteran savvy dude to bring the ball up when they need it. Jeremiah Williams is kind of there, but he has to defer now to those 2. I'm trying to think of the 2 guys that I'm talking about. Caleb.
Yeah.
McConnell, these tough-nosed, grinding dudes that have been there. They're 22, and then they had a point guard before that graduated a couple years ago. I'm trying to think of his name, but I really liked his game a lot too. He was savvy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Illinois is going to need to take care of business. I really don't give a crap about the rankings. I do from a relevance standpoint, but we know who this team is. We know that this is a very talented basketball team. And that we're going to take some lumps in the non-conference just because of the quality of the schedule that they do play. I mean, it's one of those things like you could go 3-0, not make the rankings, and then lose at Alabama and still not be in the rankings. It's one of the. Yeah. It might be a grind. I think it might take until the Big Ten season to pop into the rankings. So they'll probably count that against Illinois like a close loss to number 2. They'd be like, "Wow, we had them at 26, but man, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of 3-pointers shot in that game."
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching some highlights of that McNeese tonight. A lot of slip screens, flares or whatever to the basket. They've been taking advantage of McNeese State on that.
Sincere Parker from McNeese.
Yeah, see,
we looked at who's a SLU kid.
Yeah, there's some really. They got some talent. They got some talent on that team. They don't necessarily believe in defense, but they're going to score a lot of points and they're going to win that conference. Yeah. So. Hold on a sec, Jay Began. You're trying to take the spotlight. You don't get to take our toasts, okay? That's not how it works here.
I like that toast a lot.
We haven't mentioned it yet, but I did tweet about it, Jay Began. You already know this. It's recorded. Everybody wanted to talk about, look at Will Riley had this many points in this game, and it gets SIUE. Ben Hummerkaus had 5 threes, and I'm thinking, and quietly, Marez Johnson led Illinois with 6 blocks in game 1 and 8 rebounds in game 2. He just slowly leads a category in every game he plays. And so that's what you need. You need a guy like that. And so that's one of the things that I like about this team as we head into Oakland Wednesday is that you got shooting. You need shooting. You got it. We need size. We got that.
Illinois is one of the biggest teams in the country.
You got to have ball handlers. We got that. You need senior and older older player leadership. We got that. You need that spark off the bench who can just give you 20. We got that. We need a glue guy, somebody that's just going to battle and fight and scratch and claw. We saw Ivicevic diving against SIUE for a loose ball. We know Merez Johnson's going to be – nobody's going to out-battle or outwork Merez Johnson for a ball. We got that. The only thing we don't have right now, Kev, is free throw shooting.
and I'll disagree with that, and here's the reason why.
Okay, you can do that. That's fine.
Do we really think that Ben Humrickhouse is going to shoot 66% from the free throw line? Do we think Kerry Booth is a 50% free throw shooter? Do we think Kylan Boswell is a 50% free throw shooter? I don't think any of those numbers are anywhere remotely close to what their actual totals are going to be by the end of the year.
I had to say we didn't have something. There has to be a flaw.
No, I agree with that. What we don't have is we're not super athletic. Like this isn't like last year's team was probably more athletic. Like we don't. I mean, even Quincy Guerriere, like you're not going to see and Terrence Shannon. You lose guys with that kind of motor and that kind of bounce. You're going to lose a little bit of athleticism, and so I think that's what you're going to see. And Kylan Boswell is an 80% career free throw shooter. He's 50% on the year. He's a 38% career 3-point shooter. He's 16% from the year. So I think there's some opportunities there for.
Athlete-wise, you're looking at Merez. Trey White's got some bounce on him. Will Riley can get there. Casparis is sneaky. KJ's sneaky athletic.
Yeah, and Dre's obviously athletic. But it's just a little bit.
Dre's our high flyer who's going to get a chance to.
And I think that athleticism showed a little bit when SIUE was killing us on the offensive glass there for a little bit. So.
Look, Brad has to have something to get on these guys about. My favorite, I don't know if we've all been watching Brad Underwood for the last 8 years now, right? We all have our favorite mannerisms. Mine is, he's over here like this. And you watch the other team get 2 or 3 straight rebounds and then get a putback 3. Oh, my God. He's like, and he yells at who's ever on the bench next to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that guy hadn't even gotten the game yet. Or he could have just hit 2 threes in a row and just needed a water break. He's going to be like in that guy's face like, do you see what I'm talking about? He's like, do you see why you have to rebound the ball? Yeah, he just needs somebody to vent to, and I love it. And there was a couple of those against SIUE that makes Brad Underwood great because he knows how to relate, he knows how to coach, and the players respect him. They know why he's upset, and he's not going to degrade them a little bit. And I'm glad we got past the whole he called Kipper Nichols a pussy stage where everybody was thinking Brad Underwood's a meanie head. I can't.
He also called him Jimmy Butler, so maybe we'll just like give him some grace there. So it's interesting playing Oakland. Greg Campy is the longest tenured coach in college basketball. He's been there since 1984. And
almost had him to the Sweet 16 last year. NC State's magical run ended that, sadly. But they took out Kentucky. Yeah. They are missing a couple of key players from that team. I think Rocket Watts isn't on that team.
Watts, Michigan State transfer.
Yeah, Michigan State. Rocket Watts was on that team last year. Yeah, he played at Oakland for 2 seasons actually after he left Michigan State. And then Jack Grolke, was it?
Yeah, he hit the 10 threes against Kentucky.
Yeah, he graduated last year. So this is a whole new team. I think they just got beat by 30-some by Boise State.
Yeah, this is not the same. They got beat by 44.
Okay. 44. I knew it wasn't good. So, yeah, Illinois is going to probably be able to. I want to see.
They have a 25-point win. They have a 23-point win over Defiance. So they got that going for them. Defiance.
I think me, you, and 3 guys from our tailgate could probably beat Defiance. So I'm not really sure that's saying much.
But we might need Matt McCumber for that one.
Is Matty McCumber a good ball player? Can he play?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if he could ball or not. I knew he knows the game, like and can coach, but I wasn't sure. 200 Kim Pom. And by the way, Lazy, if you want to relay the message to the Discord, I haven't really been in there much the last week or so, but I'll jump back into it as recruiting kicks in and hoop season. sometimes there's just not a lot to say, and it's a free Discord, and you guys like to talk about all kinds of stuff on there that you don't need me for. You only need me for info. That's the only reason I'm on there. So anyway, so a lot of exciting things coming with this hoop season. Of course, we get Bama in about 9 days, I believe. Yeah. And then on Thanksgiving.
Week from Wednesday, yeah.
On Thanksgiving, Illinois gets Arkansas.
In Kansas City right after the Bears-Lions game, which nobody wants to watch anyway. So,
yeah. Well, hey, here's my question: will Matt Eberflus be the coach for that game?
Probably.
Okay. Well, there was a couple guys on. I think Vance Armstrong was one on X who said, "I will." I don't know if he talked about ending his own life. I don't know what he was saying. If they don't fire Matt Eberflus by Tuesday. I was like, please don't say that stuff. I said, but if you are saying that, please make a will and let your family know, because he's going to be the coach Tuesday. If you haven't followed Dave Kaplan on YouTube, please do. If you enjoy just someone getting their ass reamed and let's talk
about the different Bears, the Grizzly Bears from Oakland, and I think Illinois trumps this. They'll hammer them. I love like Mike Mulberry, the over under on our points. Our team total might be in the 90s, and I think that's probably low. I think the over under total in this game will probably be 160, and I bet you that's low. If you've got the opportunity, Mike, and you can bet on the University of Illinois, which a lot of folks on our listeners can't, I think I would take the over team total and the over.
That's a fade the deuce question. Isn't that coming tomorrow night?
It is back tomorrow night with a guest to kickstart the show.
Okay. Wow, right? That's news to me. Oh, wait a second. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. I thought you were talking about a guest for the show.
No.
You're having a guest.
You're having a guest.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I guess you're not involved, but yeah, I do what I try to do.
What I'm saying, it's not my guest. It's your guest. It's our guest.
It's our guest, but he will be everybody's guest because everybody will love him. And so we're going to have a special guest to kickstart Fade the Deuce tomorrow. So catch it just a little bit earlier than normal tomorrow. I think we're going to be just a little after 8:30, probably maybe 8:40-ish to start. So Fade the Deuce will be at 9 like we usually go, but 8:40 probably when we get going live, because once you get somebody up and going, we got to get the show going, and they can only be on so long. So anyway. Yeah, it'll be a good one.
And the movie about the guy, 2007 is really good. So
yeah, it's going to be wonderful. But anyway, Mike Mulberry, that's a great question, and those are questions for hoop stuff. Please feel free to ask on Fade the Deuce. Mike Mulberry, you are smart, and I guess you'll find that out in the next 24 hours, won't you? You will. You'll find that out.
Hey, we never did it, but should we give us a champagne toast to each of us?
We're going to do that this week. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that right now, because I think we've talked about everything we really need to talk about, and we'll be able to get off here in under 50 minutes or so. So, champagne toast. Kev, I'll let you start.
It's easy. It's a layup, but it's also a little bit not, in the fact that you can certainly look at what Ivicevic did the first week in averaging a double-double. Will Riley setting the freshman record for debut with the Illinois debut, doesn't matter freshman or not, with 31 points and averaging 22 and a half to start the first couple games. But I still think in the game where he scored 31 and Dre had 20-something, this guy was our best player. I'm giving it to Casper, KJ. I think his command, he plays like he's 38 years old and he's 18. And he just has a command of the offense. The guy is so unselfish, maybe unselfish to a fault, but I think he could have got 25 in either game without a problem. And he is everything that he's been advertised to be. His passing is incredible, and he actually plays hard on the defensive end. It's always something a little bit worried about European basketball. They get the knock for not playing much defense, but yet being highly skilled. I thought he played well there. He is the floor general. So my champagne toast goes to KJ.
And, since you basically named everybody that I was going to pick, but you brought him up, precursor, I'm going to go outside the box and just do what Mr. Bacon mentioned, and I probably would have picked him anyway. Ivicevic was going to be my number one just because of how skilled he is. It's just so smooth, man. He just is so fun to watch and easy to watch. It's like,
Dude, he's a pro.
yeah, if he's such as a pro, I really want him to play one more. Here's the thing, man. Like when this season's over, if he keeps this up, he might be a guy where people are like, yeah, we'll take a second round flyer on him right now or second round.
Yeah, because he fits the NBA mold. It's the question of whether or not he can move on the perimeter in the NBA switching defense. But the fact is he's going to stretch the floor at the next level. So yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much to love about his game. But I'm going to go from my toast is to a guy who isn't getting a ton of minutes right now, but boy, is he really maximizing them. Okay? If you look at his minutes per block, per rebound, I bet you it's crazy, Kev.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perez Johnson, if you look at how many minutes he's played, so what he's contributed points, rebounds, and blocks, if you put that into like a 25, 30-minute a game window, it'd probably be pretty scary. Okay? So that's why it's like, oh, Perez Johnson had 5 points and 8 rebounds. Okay. Yeah, and what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? He had 5 points and 8 rebounds, Kev. You know, it's like, okay, we'll give him 30 minutes, and then what's he got? Oh, 12 and 18, you know, and then, against Eastern, let him play 30 minutes. How many has he got? Oh, he's had 12 points, 10 blocks, 14 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes. So toast.
Yes.
Perez Johnson. Yep.
Perez Johnson. Hey, quick thing. So one of the sites that I absolutely love is Sports Reference. They have college stats on there, and they do a per 40 minutes. Like the NBA used to always do a per 48, so you could really map out what a guy's numbers would be. Perez Johnson in a per 40-minute game. So if he were to play average a full game with his rebounds per minute, would average 23.7 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 11 points. 12 points. 12 points, 24 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
Yeah, and just think, well, realistically, he's not. Yeah, it's like, no, he actually probably be 30 could be realistic, and I guarantee it'd still be like 9, 15,
right.
and 9 or something. You know,
well, yeah. Like, the fact is, and granted, the competition, but rebounding is something that portrays at every level. If you can rebound in high school, you can rebound in college. If you can rebound in college, you can rebound in the pros. So it's nice.
Yeah. So we got KJ, we got Perez. I really, really good. But man, this freshman class is good, man. It's good. And here's the thing, Tommy, T.I., we got to play a little T.I. What you know about that? T.I., if he's a sophomore, he lost a year of eligibility because of the baloney he had to deal with, and he has to donate money to charity or whatever. But he's really a freshman too. So, and what I didn't get is how the hell did Peacock not know that? They kept, Stephen Bardo and his guy, like, come on, this is your job. You get paid. You get paid to do your research about the game you're covering and talk about it on national television or streaming. You cannot sit there and not know that he's actually a sophomore. So that's your job. You got paid to do that. And Peacock, come on, get your stuff together. And I love Bardo, but you got to know that. Final thoughts. My final thought, and it's one that I really won't have to say anymore after this week. Come show up and support the seniors for Senior Day. Please. I think they deserve it. Pat Bryant has played so many weeks injured. And it doesn't matter, man. He's going to be out there playing for you. And that's just one guy, There's a bunch of guys out there that have played injured and I think deserve. If you can come Saturday, please come. I haven't looked at the weather yet, but
it should be upper 50s and no precipitation. So
so upper 50s, and it's still going to be, the sun's going to be out. It'll probably be going down, after in the second half, but still, I think it's a winnable game. Come show up. Let's make it a decent crowd for the guys on Senior Day. And also, recruits see this, and I can tell you for certain it's discussed in recruits' homes by their parents because I've already gotten text messages about it. So let's not be that team where they say the reason that they're not going there is because you don't get home support when things don't go well for a game or two. Or we're not going to get you to show up for Senior Day because trust me, there's kids' parents and really good players' parents watching that.
Yeah, there's a family 4-pack for $69. So it's clear that the tickets are available. And that was going to be my final thought too, Ryan. So if you need, I mean, that's $17 a ticket, $16 a ticket, right? So like,
Yeah.
get your butts in the stadium, man. $16.50 a ticket. Come on. Get to the game. If you need a 4-pack and you can't afford it, holler at me. I'll buy you a 4-pack of tickets. Like, if you're listening to this show,
Kev's gonna have like $500 worth of requests.
Yeah, first come, first serve.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
but like, yeah, that was going to be mine too, Ryan. I find it very disappointing when we don't fill the stadium. This is a team that's won 6 games. They won 6 of their first 7. We knew we were going bowling halfway through the season. This is pretty special. A chance to win 9 games. I can name all the 9-win seasons of my lifetime pretty easily. 1983, 1989, 2001, 2007.
Exactly.
Right. So like, this is a team that can win 9 games, and the only way they can do it is to win this next game. And it's senior day. The guys deserve it. Get out there. This coaching staff's done a wonderful job. As much as people want to bag on the coaching staff for maybe some coordinator failures in certain points in games, that's fine. But the fact is that we are been at the bottom of the recruiting rankings in the Big Ten for a period of time here that has affected this team. And we have not had a strong history for 30-some years now. And this is a good team. This is a functional team. This is a team that, like Ryan says, get your butt in the stands. Get out there, go support this team.
I think that's all we need to say. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Fade the deuce. Please get in your seats early, just like this weekend for Michigan State. Get in your seats early tomorrow, 8:30. Just get your adult beverage ready. Put your favorite mug in that freezer. Get the popcorn in the popper. Whatever you need to get yourself ready for Fade the Deuce. Kev, did you have a good week?
I did not.
That's 2 weeks in a row. We're losing your – oh, man.
It was a bloodbath, dude. It was
trying to get a sponsor for the show, man. It's not going to work out. It happens, though. That's why it's called gambling, right?
It's true. Still over 500.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. As long as you didn't put the mortgage on it, we're good. That'll do it. Swap me out.
ILL.
I and I.